The Final Fantasy VII Rebirth hype continues. It all started off with that State of Play trailer, which we went into in detail, and you can watch that video just here. We're going to be doing the same thing today with the TGS Grasslands gameplay demo. We're going to be watching it in English, and you're probably wondering, Jen, why are you starting there? We've had like the Junon gameplay demo, we've had the Nibelheim flashback gameplay demo. I wanted to do videos on them as they came out, but we just kept getting flooded with more information, so we're going to be working backwards and just kind of taking it all in. Now we're going to be breaking things down and having a look at things that you may have missed, and there may be things that I missed, so I want you guys to get involved in the comment section down below. If you agree with my comments, if you disagree with my comments and what I think certain things may lead to, let me know. Let's get a discussion going down there. I absolutely love it. And with that all being said, what is up, guys? Jen here. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Got you covered with timestamps as always. So if there's a certain section you want to skip to in the video, have a look at those timestamps. See if there's something that intrigues you, go there. And you know, it's there for your convenience, whatever floats your boat. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. I don't want to waste too much of your time, so let's get straight into the trailer. Now I said trailer, obviously I mean gameplay demo. This is going to be incredibly long. It's a half an hour worth of footage. Don't know how we're going to break it down into a short form video, but we're going to go with it. I'm going to kind of freeze frame at certain points, watch certain things like this and talk about it, and we'll just go from there. So this cutscene in particular, there is just one scene that I want to skip straight to, and I'm going to do that right here. And because this is a beautiful opening, we've seen it back at Summer Games Fest. But the one thing that I want to look for in particular, because it's a nice talking point, is just here, and I'll pause it. We can see the, I'm hoping I pronounce this right, the Gelnikas airships. We see these in the OG on the airship strips of Junon, and obviously we visit the sunken one, and we get to explore the inside of one that has been shot down. Here they are, obviously hunting us down to what we think so far, because we've escaped from Midgar. We know this from the Junon demo as well, that our party are wanted. They have a bounty on their head. So we can see quite clearly that they have got them to go out of Midgar after Cloud has spoken about the Nibelheim flashback. And just there, Tifa said a certain line, I guess we won't be coming back anytime soon. So in this demo, they do go back pretty soon, whether this is a dev build or if they kind of like construct this footage to go to the point where you can go back to Kalm. And if I was to have my guess on when we can go back to Kalm, it is once we have defeated the Turks in the Mithril Mine. That is my guess, and then we can go back through the Mithril Mine, come out, go back to the Chocobo Ranch, and go back up to Kalm. My guess, could be wrong, but it kind of makes sense, I would say. So I definitely want to bring up this here because it's a seamless transition into gameplay. Look at that beautiful world. We can see that whoever's playing this build are shuffling through the party arrangements. You can see there we've got Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, Cloud, Red 13, Aerith. I'm assuming that you can do these quick loadouts and set them up in the menus. And you can see here with the world map, we are heading towards Bill's Chocobo Ranch. Now, as fun as combat looks, I'm not really going to be focusing too much on combat in this video. But I do want to kind of make it known that I am very excited for what the combat is going to evolve into in Rebirth. But if you want to chime in on anything combat related, let me know in the comment section below. And we're now heading towards some items that we can pick up. We know from interviews that they were very inspired by Horizon Zero Dawn. And we can see this. Look at this luscious landscape with all these items that we can pick up, which we can use for item transmutation or item transmute or whatever the word is. I think we'll see it in a minute in the menu. But essentially there are going to be random fodder littered throughout the world that we can collect. We've seen some gold ones, which are probably rarer items, but the item transmuter will use those items that we can collect to craft antidotes, potions, smelling salts, echo mists, phoenix drafts, and all things like that. And we've seen one of the items there, the planet's blessing. I'll be very interested to see if this fodder material that we can collect has like a brief description in the item menu. It'd be really nice to see like what a sage leaf is, or what is the planet's blessing in the terms of what you kind of pick off the ground? Is it just soil? Thing next I want to talk about is how alive this world feels. You can see the rabbits just kind of hopping along there. We've seen the deers as well go across. I'm expecting loads of moments like this. I'm expecting to see, like, I know we see Mr. Dolphin, but maybe we'll see dolphins just naturally kind of swim. Maybe there's fish that we'll see as we go past some of the waters, the rivers. This world feels alive, and I really can't wait to just go off the beaten path and explore. And talk about going off the beaten path, we're going to be coming across these chocobo chicks that are going to lead us to a chocobo stop, which will then create a fast travel point. At the moment it feels very generic and you're just simply following it. Bringing up the chocobo stop, we have the stop unlocked. I'm hoping that there has a few variations. This obviously takes inspiration from Ghost of Tsushima and the foxes, but I'm hoping that maybe it will lead you, but there's monsters blocking the path. You defeat some monsters and then go here. Maybe a chocobo chick wants a certain item before it takes you to the stop, and you can only activate the stop with the chocobo chick. And we know that these give us golden plumes that we can then trade at the chocobo ranches to customize our chocobos, and indeed we can pet the chocobo chick. Now I'm going to keep this footage rolling because what we're going to see now is Cloud sit down on the bench and he crafts a cushion, or he uses a cushion that has been crafted, and you can see he has 10 there. So from my understanding, if you sit on a bench without a cushion at a chocobo stop, you will replenish your HP. You use a cushion, you will also replenish your MP as well as the HP. So it kind of gives you incentive to kind of do it, because these are all scattered around the world, and it may be cheaper than using many ethers on the fly. So it's something to bear in mind, and it's nice to see a little bit of addition and variation to things that we can do to replenish our resources. So we've jumped a little bit ahead here. We are now getting towards Bill's Chocobo Ranch, and I'm assuming this is going to introduce us to Chocobo Ranches, because we've seen one in the Junon gameplay demo, and I'm assuming that there's going to be one at every major location offering different quests to do with chocobos, maybe introducing us to the certain terrain chocobos that we can get, the mountain, the sky, and whatever else they want to introduce, and also kind of just introduce us to different items you can trade those golden plumes into. Now before we look at Billy, howdy there Billy, I want to go back and just kind of talk about something that I've noticed, which they've definitely taken inspiration from open world games. You can see here, whatever button prompt does that, we can have like a way marker. Instead of going to the map all the time to try and find out where we can go, we can see that there's a button that we can press that kind of shoots this Mako stream towards the location that we need to head to next. I'm assuming this will only be linked to the main quest. Maybe if we activate a side quest as a active quest, then this will direct us in the right way. It's a really nice feature just in case we may get lost along the way. Okay, I'm freezing on the cutscene with Chocobo Billy, and this line in particular because I did see something on Twitter that perked my interest, and I think, oh, maybe they're onto something here. But it's Aerith comment on saying that we don't have that kind of money, or any really. Maybe this is just due to them being on the run, and because we've had everything kind of reset, this may be an excuse to have a lower amount of gil, or maybe this is a way to introduce Yuffie, who's been like a few steps ahead of the party, and while they've been sleeping or telling the story, the Nibelheim flashback, maybe she's gone and stole some money. But I think it's the former, where simply it's just kind of a way story-wise to say that we're starting from scratch with a lot of things. This is a great little throwback to the OG. Cloud looks like a chocobo. Really nice that they kept that in there, and we're going to see something a little bit later as well. So I think it's really interesting that they've decided to kind of like throw back the OG here. The OG, we followed the chocobo tracks and we got into a random battle, and then we caught the chocobo if it was the last kind of enemy standing that we were against. Here they have the chocobo tracks. They also have feathers laying about as well. Maybe this is going to be the same for each region or near each chocobo ranch, where we can catch the next bird that we can use. We don't really know the ins and outs yet, but this takes us straight into our first mini game here, and that is catching the chocobo, bagging us a chocobo, as Barrett is kindly saying here. So this seems like a pretty easy mini game to play. It looks like we don't need to pay much attention to the chocobo. Well, maybe the chocobos that are facing away from us, maybe that has something to do, because it looks like they're turning around. But this is very Horizon inspired again, because we are hiding in the bushes, and we'll see a little bit later that we can throw a rock to distract the chocobo. So essentially we need the Chocobo to be facing away from us so we can catch it. So you can see the player controlling Cloud. We're going to pick up a couple of rocks. We've got 2 at the moment. We're going to aim it. We're going to throw it just slightly behind it, nearly absolutely bonking it on the head here. But whether we can do that or not, I'm sure there'll be someone that tests that out straight away to hit the Chocobo with a rock. But then we press triangle, and I don't know if this is something we're going to be doing with the analog sticks, like a little bit akin to what you have to do on The Legend of Zelda, Breath in the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where you have to tame it. But you can see that we also get rewarded golden plumes for this. So maybe there are various Chocobo side quests that we can get involved with where we can, you know, get more plumes and then trade them into the shops to customize our Chocobos. And again, a nice little nod towards Cloud looking like a Chocobo. Making his grand return, it's Chad! The Chadley, and he is obviously offering us a various amount of side quests that we're going to get involved with. Just freeze framing it here, we've seen this a few times before, but we have more dialogue choices, which is nice. So we can be messing around and be like saying to Chadley, no, we don't even remember who you are. But I'm assuming that there's going to be various things like this, especially when it comes to character relationships as well, because we know that there's quests tied to them, and that may be tied to the date scene that we get in the Gold Saucer much later in Rebirth. But it's nice to see us having a little bit more control over the dialogue to try and get various things, so our playthroughs may differ from one another in the early stages of Rebirth. This is a great scene while Chadley is explaining the uses of towers. They used to be used by the Republic of Junon, but now they've been taken over by the Shinra. But basically these are the things that kind of unlock the various icons around the world map and kind of give us more chance to explore, which gets me very excited because we can see all the little nooks and crannies, old ruins, people running farms here and there across the lands. Maybe there'll be an old grumpy man that lives at a shack somewhere. There's so much, and I'm sure the towers are going to point us in those directions, but it's really nice to note that we've still got the Gelnikas patrolling Kalm at this stage. We can see Kalm in the background, and then behind there is Midgar. Whether there's going to be like a viewpoint, maybe viewpoints might be a thing where we can get like good angles of certain locations, but if we can look back at Midgar, that'd be nice, and have a few dialogues with characters. So those little touches would be really, really nice for something like a game like this. So I've gone back a little bit to look at these towers, because while Chadley is explaining these towers, we have a pan around a completely different tower to the one we're going to. The one we go to, you will see, is very basic. We go to, and the buttons at the bottom. This one we can see as it carries on just a little bit here. We can see this is like a 3-tier tower in a different location, but we can see just at the bottom here, this is the activation point. So there are going to be, you know, variations in the towers we'll be exploring, and we know that we're going to be unlocking grapple hooks, and we know that we're going to have traversable chocobos, and I'm really interested to see how they implement it and change it up a bit. This one we're going to have to obviously climb up a ladder. We've got it. Maybe there's another one that we have to use a grappling hook. Maybe another one the ladders have been broken on it and we have to find a different way up. Maybe doing a certain jump with a chocobo. It's not going to be just the boring go into a tower, hitting the button. We're going to have to do a bit of climbing, a bit of exploring. We can see platforms that we can obviously jump off and do things with. It looks like there's like a fireman's pole just here. And also I've noticed we have this highway in the background. Whether this is stemming off Midgar or not, it'd be very interesting to see where this links up to. It looks like we can explore all this thing, and this looks a bit like the path they may have walked when leaving Midgar at the end of the secret, not the secret ending, but the additional ending from Integrate. So it's really nice to see what we could be getting when it comes to these towers. Obtained the Chad module. What a name for the module we'll be using for a lot of Chadley related side quests. So again, you can see here, very basic one. We go to there and we activate it by using the Chad module, and it does the deed for us. We have a nice little cutscene that you would expect from any kind of game that presents towers. It sends off a signal. I believe there's an official name for this because a blog's just been released. So yeah, these are called Remnawave towers. There's the official name for them that we got from the blog that dropped while I was making this video. But Chadley's very happy. He's scanning, and then we're going to get like a little cutscene of all the locations that have been opened up to us. And we can see there, Grasslands combat assignments have been registered. So it unlocks more things for us to do. We'll see a little checklist on the map a little bit later here we can see that there's a tower been activated. It's going to reveal a few locations around the map. I'll go into detail what some of these icons are in just a second. But we can also see that Chadley is the Chad that brings us the materia for his materia development. And we can see here we have the fire and ice materia, auto cast materia, or morph materia, which it was nice. It means we can like farm maybe unique items from certain enemies, but we need grassland data points to purchase them. Make it look like we can only get one of each so far, but we can also see that we can, as the game goes on, we can cycle back and forth between the regions. And say if we miss out on getting the auto cast materia because we pass on by, or we get to like Custodale Cell and Chadley's there, we can just press R1 and L2 to kind of go back. But we also got the auto unique abilities. So these are the auto materials that have been spoken about, which will get the characters to use the abilities at certain times or when needed, which is nice. So I'm just freeze framing on the map again here. This is, I don't know if this happened instantly after the scene that we've just seen, but there's a few things that I want to talk about here. And I hope I'm not blocking anything. I'm only blocking a little bit of info, so don't worry about it. But here we have Chloe's request, and it looks like we have these things. So it looks like Chloe's request has like 4 steps in her quest line, and maybe you get to the second one, but you need to do something else around the world before you unlock that. Do you know, a little bit like we did in Remake, you'd have to do a few things and then it would unlock the next node of a side quest. I'm expecting that to be quite expanded. We can also see an icon here for what we're going to be seeing a little bit later, the Mog's House. And we'll talk about these now, I think is probably a good time. So we've got towers, we can see it down here just below me, combat assignments, summon crystals. We know that we can enhance summon materia that we have, so maybe there's certain levels to each summon materia to make them more powerful. Maybe we have a little bit more control over them as we unlock more crystals. But that's interesting. We have Lifesprings, which I'm trying to think what they could be, because we already have the Chocobo stops, so we're also crafting items. So I don't think a life spring would be something as such as to replenish MP and HP. Maybe it does, but maybe it's got something else tied to it. Maybe it is a viewpoint of these pots of Mako around the world that just look beautiful. Maybe Aerith will talk to the planet or something like that to ensure that that kind of stays as pure as it can. The possibilities are endless, but it's interesting that we got all these landmarks. And just underneath here, I know the YouTube bar is blocking it ever so slightly, but we have ProtoRelics, and these are highlighted in red, which tell me that we're either too low level for them or they're like a very important thing. But we can see there's one up here at the top of the map. Very interested to see what this tied into. I'm really interested to see what ProtoRelics are. Is it something that we collect and put together at the end? Or is it just a thing that we can build up over time? Let me know what you think ProtoRelics are, but I think it might be tied to like an overarching kind of like side quest that we may get introduced to later in the game. Really interesting to see where they go with that one. So I just want to freeze frame here, because during the Japanese one I was wondering what the hell this machine is here, but we get actually a name for it ever so briefly if we kind of go slowly through the frames here as we run towards it. We can, because once you're heading a certain direction, these icons at the top here will reveal what they are. So we can, if we go back a little bit, we can see the quest that we've got with the star. Just bear with me, we'll get there. Well, hello there, it's Editor Jen here, and while I've just freeze frame here, I just want to pick up on the fact that I didn't talk about the fact that we have a notification that the combat simulator has been updated to version 3.1.0, which is indeed confirmation that the combat simulator returns in Rebirth. Whether this is just restricted to summons or whether we can go against different enemies, we will see as time goes on, but I should imagine that we're going to fight a few super bosses in this combat simulator. Good old Chadley there. Look, Hustle de Chocobo, you can see it there. So every time that that's in the center of our compass here, it will reveal what it is. So Through the Swamplands is the main quest that we're doing, because we've just got the Chocobo to do that. And if we go just and try to see if I can stop it, we've got the rest spot, but we have the Maghnata Automat. Now, an Automat is an old school thing where we have machines that prepare meals for us, which tells me we will have access to meals that will give us certain buffs for an amount of time, would be my guess. Much like Final Fantasy 15 and the cooking, you do a certain thing recipe, that's it, I've come up with a new recipe, and we have a buff. It's very interesting to see what we have access to us, and it's just incredible the amount of items we are getting with Rebirth. Also, I know it's really bad quality, but Kalm's there in the background, which is really, really nice. So we called the Chocobo, and we get a bit of a sense of like just Chocobo riding. It's going to be a main kind of traversal option, I think, because it's going to get us things really faster. But there is one thing I want to pick up on here because I want to know where it goes, but we get the Ascent and Scour thing here. So Chocobo senses something nearby, and it leads us to the point where we go. Very interesting about this item we're about to pick up here. We pick up, wait for it, obtained a Play Arts Sweeper. Now, let's get rolling with what this could be. I've got a few things in mind here. So the first one could be a very basic one. Maybe the Play Art Sweeper is simply a card for Queen's Blood. I think that would be the go-to answer. The second answer is that the Fort Gondor game returns, and it is a enhanced version of the Sweeper for the Fort Condor game. Or I could go even one further and just kind of go off the ball a little bit here, right? So Play Arts Sweeper. They've got the Play Arts in capitals, and, you know, Play Arts is a big thing when it comes to Final Fantasy merchandise. So what if we collect these and we can display them somewhere? Maybe like we can look back and look at all these Play Arts figures that I've collected and there's a trophy tied to it. What if we can purchase the infamous house in Costa del Sol for much cheaper? Maybe it's just given to us or something like this. Maybe there's an Avalanche member there that just says, look, this is a good place to hide out if you need to come back for what and what, and you have a shelf where you can display them all. That would be awesome. Like, it's opening my mind, but it's probably some of the former things that I said, probably like a Queen's Blood card. But what if, hey, what if we had a place to display all these figures? Because in the original, we had the soldier figures that we collected like 3 of, and they had no purpose. What if little figures now have a purpose and we can display them somewhere? Who knows? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. So we are fast approaching Mog's house. We've seen it in the trailer with the mini game as well, but here we traverse and pass it, and there's a few things to note. I don't know if you noticed just here, there's some Moogle statues that have been crafted out of stone. They look like they've been handcrafted. You can see some more just here, and there are some more just here as well as we just pass it. So I think Mog's house unlocks the minigame. I don't think it's part of the gold saucer. I think we simply have this Mog's house. We get introduced to the quest line, and we go into the door, we come out of the door of Mog's house, but we're in that alternate kind of minigame world. That's my thoughts. But also, I'm going to go another step further and say that Mog's house, this isn't the only one. They're going to be in each region of the map. There's probably going to be 3 or 4, and each time it's a different part of the minigame, and it's increasing the story ever so much more. Instead of just doing it here and getting it all done with, I think they'll say, well, our friends and so are in the Junon region. You'll have to find them. They're near blah, 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 blah. Or when you go over to Corral, there's a small, about like rundown forest. I'm sure our friend Moogle 3 is over there, or something like that. I just feel like there's more of these locations just because of like how homely they've made it with these statues all around the place. So this part of the gameplay here, I'm going to touch on ever so slightly. We can see that we're getting like a tour guide perspective from an AI, which is called which is inside our Chad module by the looks of it. So essentially this is us finding rare variants of common monsters. As they just described, this is a version of the Alpha Dunk, this is the M9 Dunk, and it gives you a brief synopsis of what they are. I think this is really cool. It would be cool to have that synopsis also in the battle enemy intel, and we can play the replay the dialogues if we want them to be read out again. So it's really nice to see. Obviously opens up the world even more places to explore, more rare enemy variants to find, and really fill up that enemy intel kind of bestiary. So this is part of the game where they decide to go back to Kalm, and again we can see all the little things from the map, but Kalm looks absolutely glorious, and the fact that they are playing the theme that they play, and again we see that Mako stream of showing us where to go. This looks incredible, and they've really expanded upon Kalm, and I think there's a few throwbacks to the Dirge of Cerberus version of Kalm as well, with some of the NPCs dancing that we'll see very soon. But look at it, there is the inn. It looks massive and it's glorious. Obviously that's where the game is going to start for us before we get chased off by Shinra, but we can just see how much this world is lived in. And we also, is that a rare Chadley sighting we've just seen there as well? Let's go back. Just step back a little bit, Cloud. Just a little bit more. And we can see there, look. There is Chadley. So I'm assuming that Chadley is going to appear in all major locations throughout the game once he's introduced to us at that part in the Chocobo farm. Also, the mini-map we can see, we've got the notice board. We're going to see that very soon. A side quest that involves a Chocobo by the looks of it. I think anything with this little Chocobo foot icon is going to involve us using a Chocobo. Obviously we have the main quest here. We can rest at the inn as well, so if we want to go back into there, which would be nice. I hope we can go to more buildings this time around, which would be awesome. And we've got 2 Queen's Blood challenges. It looks like that we can't do the Final Fantasy VIII approach and just play anyone at it. There's going to be select NPCs to play, much like the Fort Condor game in Remake Intergrade. So now with this English record, it's a little bit different than the Japanese footage because we get a better view of Kalm, and in particular this like stream that runs down through it. I don't know if this runs all the way out to the ocean, and maybe we can come back to Kalm through like a river chocobo or something, and we can swim and come through this here, or it's just a nice aesthetic added to Kalm. But that's really nice. Also want to go back just a few frames here. We can see that the town looks like it's very explorable. We have a building over here. It looks like we can go over behind the buildings over there. Also, we have like all of that down there on the other side of the stream. And then if I go back even more, just as we pass through this little tent, like we can go down here. There's also a bit of kanji here, and I did look this kanji up, and I think it's literally like a clothes shop. I think that means like threads or something. So we've got a clothes shop that's probably not related to anything, but it's just nice to kind of look at it. We can see all these little mini figures on that stall there. Kalm is just a glorious place, and I can't wait to explore this. Get much Alexandria vibes from it, but it's a nice place to look at nonetheless. Well, now we can also see here, oh, there he is, look. This guy holding the flowers. Most definitely, just, wait a minute, there he is, look. This guy, most definitely a side quest. Definitely like a branching side quest. And then we get introduced to the notice board here, where we are going to be picking up our Merc jobs here. And we can see rare card loss, lifetime in peril, and the one that we're going to be looking at is going to Oliver's farm, going back to when I was saying that there's going to be little locations all the time to do this side quest. And there we go, we get a nice little look at the Kalm map here from what we've explored so far. So whether we can visit all of this here, but this is a part of the town, like it says here, Mako Tank Plaza. So maybe we can go off the off streets here. Does it look like this goes off into the water? I don't know, but Kalm looks quite vast. I don't know if this is only place that we can explore, but we'll see. Hey, Editor Jen here once again, and I just want to pick up on the fact that just above my head, you can see that we're actually at the village centre, so this may actually be the whole map of Kalm. Whether or not we can explore more, we won't know until we see more footage or we actually get our hands on the game. But more interestingly, I want to point out the thing underneath that, above my head, is the air raid shelter. This is obviously the location we go to escape Kalm when we're being chased by the Shinra. Whether this is going to be a dungeon or not, I'll be very interested to see. And we can see here that these side quests here, Flowers from the Hill, which is the Chloe side quest, and the Farmer's Request. Here from Livestock Bane is a chain of side quests as well. Pretty long ones as well, may I add. Now, the interesting thing about this one here is that Cloud and Red 13 team up, and we have been told about relationship quests, and I've mentioned it previously. So this is a good way of us kind of getting to know the characters that little bit more, having those one-on-one interactions that really can make for good combinations, like Barrett and Red 13, I'm sure are going to be good ones. It's interesting to see the dynamic here between Cloud and Red 13, because we can see we did to get a glimpse of the other characters, kind of like just standing in the background here, I think. You can see Barrett there, just kind of minding his own business. And again, we have branching quest choices as well. But essentially, this is tied to like a character side quest and maybe getting some points in that point system ready for that gold saucer date. So maybe we can date Red 13. So that was the TGS gameplay demo, but before we wrap up, I want to have a look at the little small sizzle reel that they shown. Obviously, this is what the thumbnail of the video is based on. So let's go through it. We can see here, this is Mog's house. I honestly think that we come out that door by going through the door in the main world. And this introduces us to the kind of Mog side quest sideline that we're going to get, and it's going to be really, really cute and really incredible. Maybe we get a Choco Mog Materia at the end of this, or something that's worthwhile, I hope. And also we have returning people here. We have the bandits from Don Corneo's that they were in the underneath of the highway. Remember, we didn't eliminate these guys, we simply knocked them out and they disappeared. So it's nice to see them back. It was also nice to see Kalm in the background there. So I assume that this is somewhere between the ranch and somewhere between Kalm. And it looks like that could be a branching side quest. Again, we get introduced to Queen's Blood. And just a quick note, I'm going to pause champ it here. The English screenshots say that some of these come with abilities, and we can see here, look, we have little icons. So it's really going to make this really interesting. Very, very interested to see what this brings to the table. Literally, we're going to get character cards, and we're going to get to just kind of like, oh, is that Meteor in the sky? Let me just play cards. It was going to be a good time. It's just another game, another mini game to add to the plethora of mini games that we have, and that's incredible. So again, we're looking at some of the Chocobo customization here. We can change the colors, so everything is going to look truly unique to one another. I'm really going to have probably too much fun just with all these side activities. And then we have like these training of the Chocobo. Maybe this is like the way we can get the first Chocobo Pico that we get to kind of learn the abilities of the other chocobos that we come across, maybe, and then he turns into a gold chocobo. And then here we have some kind of like trading thing here. I don't know what that item is there. But then we get introduced to the character specific side quest where we can increase the points, and we get to fight against Quetzalcoatl by the looks of it in a minute. I think someone translated it too. But there's so much to kind of get here. Let me just go back, actually. This is where we trade in the golden plumes as well, by the looks of it. There's the team going against the Quetzalcoatl boss, so maybe that's going to be nice. The piano minigame returns, and I think someone pointed out on Twitter, which is genius spotting, is that essentially Zell mid-pose doing his dolphin blow from Final Fantasy VIII. Incredible. I hope we have so many Easter eggs across this game. That being one of them gives me hope. We have the piano mini game here, which is a rhythm game, very akin to what you'd find in like The Last of Us Part 2. And before we look at this, I will talk about that in a second. That's what's going to end the video here. We will be collecting sheet music across, so it's another collectible. How many songs are we going to have? I don't know. Really hope we have a Cosmo Canyon piano track, but it's going to be incredible. Definitely going to have a trophy tie behind it as well. Last but not least, everyone was like, Wutai? Wutai? No, this isn't Wutai. This is a location on a beach that's very Wutai inspired. And there's the guy. It's Gilgamesh. Now, a lot of the comments in my original video when we were going over the State of Play trailer, people were talking about, we mentioned the summon with a quest line. And I replied to a lot of you saying, you know what? I hope it's Gilgamesh. They listened to me. This is Gilgamesh. You can see this is the red hood. This is the gold thing, different colors for whatever version Gilgamesh you come across. But if we go to the part where it's really zoomed out, not really zoomed out, but more zoomed out than I've got here, is, let's see if I can stop it at the right time. Kapow! You can see this is a red cape. It's Gilgamesh. You can't tell me it's not Gilgamesh. Really interested to see his quest line. It's going to be very interesting, and I'm very excited for it. So there you have it, the TGS kind of Grasslands demo and the little sizzle reel that they played as well, introducing a few elements that we're going to be seeing in Rebirth. I'm really excited. The next video, we're going to be diving into the Nibelheim flashback gameplay and see if we can pick up a few things there. If there's anything I've missed, let me know in the comment section below. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. So if you enjoy what you are seeing, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of that content, and of course get involved in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.